Ladies and gentlemen, happy Thanksgiving Eve. I'm sure several of you are already outlining your plans for this evening. Maybe you have the turkey thawing on your countertop as we speak. Preparation for one of my personal favorite holidays of all time. It makes it better that the lineup of NFL games is immaculate. I remember growing up, the Thanksgiving lineup was often exceptionally boring. Not a lot of heavyweight matchups, but luckily enough, we have some good football to watch, man. And even some that affect or directly affect the Buffalo Bills as far as playoff seeding. So, damn, I love this holiday, man. You have no idea. But you already know what it's about. Today, we need to unpack everything that there is to know about this Pittsburgh Steelers team. Because quite frankly, guys, I think that I speak for most Bills fans here when I tell you that this is a much-needed win for the Buffalo Bills, as much as it is a much-needed win for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Zero questions asked. So, as always, I am going to be unpacking the offensive game plan against this Pittsburgh Steelers defense, and I'm also going to be unpacking the defensive game plan against the Pittsburgh Steelers offense. A full-fledged game preview and prediction, looking at some of the advanced metrics, what this team does well, what they struggle with, and how Buffalo can exploit both sides of the equation. As always, I ask each and every single one of you to hit that thumbs up sign for me. It is the easiest way to show love over here on the channel. It propels it out to the YouTube algorithm so we can recruit more family members into the community. I also want to know, where is everybody tuning in from this morning? Let me know. What corner of the globe are you watching from? Do not be shy. Let's go on ahead and get into business. But first, I need to give a giant shout out to a couple of proud partners on the show here. First off, has to be William Attar. Folks, if you are ever hurt in a car, you've got to call William Attar, #1 car accident attorney in the state of New York. I would never wish a car accident on anybody, but say, for example, it does happen to you, need to have this guy in your corner. Memorize that phone number and lock on in. I also want to give a giant shout out to our good friends over at Garage Beer. Folks, I know a lot of you are already planned on going to your hometown bars and getting completely inebriated and being hungover for Thanksgiving tomorrow. Pick up a case of Garage Beer for your pregame. You will thank me later. It is beer tasting beer. Shout out to Garage Beer. We appreciate you for being a proud partner of the show. And last but not least, guys, we need to give a giant shout out to our good friends over on Sleeper, the #1 player prop platform on the market today, giving you a free $20 just for signing up. And you could use that toward your first parlay for Thanksgiving football. Also matching 100% of your deposit all the way up to $100. Do not sleep on Sleeper, baby. Giant shout out to the guys over there. All right, guys, let's see where everyone's tapping in from. Do not be shy. I am requiring even the lurkers in the building. Where are you tapping in from? Let us know. Hey, Dan, I know we're sitting at the 7th seed, but do we have any hope of open up to maybe the 5th seed for the playoffs? So based off of percentages and DVOA, and that's really all I'm going off of is advanced metrics based off of remaining strength of schedules for all teams that are currently in the playoff race or are in the hunt. Right now, the Buffalo Bills are most likely to have the 5th seed. I want to say we're at about 31.2% of getting that. Say that I'm a gambling man. I think that's where we'll end up, is the top seed in the wild card round. So time will tell. Time will tell. Scott, I certainly appreciate that super chat. Let's lock in. Guys, do not be shy. Where are you tuning in from? Tip City, Ohio. Go Bills. Ronald, what's going on? We got Alabama is in the building. Jimmy, Lansing, Michigan. Bills fan, what's going on? Salem, Virginia. Seattle, Washington. Indiana is in the building. Newfane, New York. South Dakota. Southern Illinois. Oregon. Good morning to you. Early morning for you, I see. I appreciate that. Chattanooga, Tennessee. Beautiful place over there. Spidey, what's going on? Go Bills. Billings, Montana. Man, you got to rub it in, dude. Montana is God's country, baby. I love it out there. Trinidad and Tobago is in the building. Spike that like button. Good morning, Dan. South Dakota once again. South Dakota, a lot of South Dakota in the building. Chattanooga again, SW. Hornell, New York is in the building. West Point, New York. Rochester, New York. Man, Bills Mafia is truly, truly worldwide. Man, I love it. I love each and every single second of it. But anyway, guys, let's go on ahead and take a look at what we can expect from this Pittsburgh Steelers offense first, because the story is going to be the defense. And I kind of want to start off by saying this. This Steelers team, defensively and offensively, is not going to be a squad that's similar to what we saw against the Houston Texans. I feel like a lot of the times when emotions get the best of you, you think that when a defense has a good game against Buffalo, like Houston did this past Thursday, that the blueprint is going to be out and all defenses are just going to shut down the Bills for the remainder of the season. A lot of that is based off of personnel, guys. You can have a blueprint and you can have a plan until life punches you in the face. What I'm trying to get at is yes, while a specific blueprint helps, you need the personnel to execute it. And I don't want us going into this game thinking that we are going to be facing the exact same struggles as we were this previous game. It is what it is. However, let's go on ahead and double check and see exactly what we can anticipate from this Pittsburgh Steelers offense and formulate to our best ability how we can attack them defensively. Because we all know that defense is public enemy number one over here. I like how Buffalo matches up against this team, surprisingly enough. When it comes into the Pittsburgh Steelers offense, they are 14th in the NFL for EPA. They are 14th in EPA per dropback. DVOA is sitting at 4.9%. That is 24th in the NFL. When you see a significant drop-off in DVOA, that means that that team is overrated when it comes into their EPA, statistically speaking. We know exactly what this Pittsburgh Steelers offense is. They don't run the ball quite effectively. They're really a tight end type offense. Does that sound familiar? Outside of DK Metcalf, it's not a very explosive type offense. They're just a lot of heavy personnel. It's an Arthur Smith typical type offense. We're familiar with what he likes to put out on the field. Followed by one of their strengths, which is interesting. And this kind of goes into one of my biggest keys for us. We are going up against a very quality yards after the catch team. They are third in the NFL for total yards after the catch, and they are first in the NFL for yak per attempt. 4.6 yards yak. Something to think about here, folks. Something to think about here. Make your tackles. Now, I understand when it comes into the run defense, we hate our run defense, right? But we need to start giving a bit more credit to the Buffalo Bills secondary because they have been doing their jobs. They are ranked very high as far as efficiency throughout this year, and I think that it has been one of the saving graces of this team. But we need Benford to make his tackles. We need Max Harrison to make his tackles. We need Poyer to make his tackles. I'm confident that he will. Same thing with Cole Bishop, who, funny enough, is slowly but surely starting to become one of the most effective safeties in the league, which is awesome. So yak is something to worry about with this team. Not a lot of explosive plays. It's like a dink and dunk type team. A lot of underneath stuff. 25 explosive plays. That's 28th in the NFL. But they always have receivers open. And when you always have receivers open, what does that tell you? That you're seeing a lot of underneath routes and a lot of insurance policy escape routes for Aaron Rodgers. They are first in the NFL for having a receiver at least generating 2 yards of separation at any point. So that's not bad. First in the league. Next up, wide open rate, 26th, significant drop off there. So you're very rarely going to be seeing anybody with an entire zip code of separation around them. Very good at finding space underneath, not so much downfield. Sound familiar? And then motion rate. Not a big motion type team. They are 17th in the NFL. I really hope I'm able to go on ahead and paint a picture for you guys. Like, why I like to do these episodes is I like for everybody to sort of get into their own minds and put together a game plan which will work based off of the data that is available to us, right? Because what I want to train my audience into is I want to educate you guys, right? Like that's my goal as in being a content creator. I want to put you guys in a position to where you understand what teams are down to the minute detail. So you don't need to rely on, oh, so-and-so said this about the game or so-and-so said that about the game. My goal is to make sure that you're informed, and I want to sort of coach you into drawing your own conclusions. And by the end of the day, I think that all of us are going to be on the same page. Hit that thumbs up sign, folks. Put it to the moon. 236 of you in the building already. 119 on YouTube. Hit that like button. Needs to be 119 of you in here. Let's lock in. Now, what does this team look like from a personnel package? Okay, what do they like to run the most? Well, surprisingly enough, they love running out of 12-man personnel, which is coincidentally one of their least efficient personnel packages. That is Arthur Smith. Talk about an offensive coordinator that is doing whatever he can to force this into working. That is Arthur Smith. They run the most 12 personnel out of all of their dropbacks thus far, 32 and a half of their offense. Again, a lot of tight ends, folks. A lot of extra offensive linemen. Jumbo packages. Probably because you have a 42-year-old quarterback, you need to account for some additional protection when it comes in there. However, awful EPA. Awful. But for some reason, that is still a focal point of their offense. Minus 0.124 EPA per play. They're going to be in 12-man personnel. And they're going to continue to be in 12-man personnel until it works. Based off of how Arthur Smith has been calling this so far. 40.69% yards per play, and this is in passing downs only. Yards per play, 4.17 yards. Something to consider. Followed by 11-man personnel. And in case you're wondering, that is just one tight end. They have 32% of their total offense. They have positive EPA, which means that they're way more efficient. Success rate, 42.38%. Yards per play, 6.5 yards. Followed by 13 personnel. Not all that effective, much better in 12. Success rate is sitting at about 40.95%. Yards per play is sitting at 4. And again, notes, they use a lot of heavy packages and multiple tight ends. Something to consider. Guys, by the way, say, for example, you ever want these detailed breakdowns, go follow me over on X at Real Dan Mitchell. You do not want to miss out on some of this. Now, what type of coverages do you want to run to limit Aaron Rodgers and this passing attack? What are they best at dissecting, and what are they at their worst? Most efficient, cover 6 and cover 4. With cover 6, for those of you that are a bit unfamiliar with what it is, it's basically cover 2 on one side, cover 4 on the other. Who knows what side it is? That is up to an offense to dissect. However, with Aaron Rodgers, it does make a lot of sense. He's a vet. He's very good at reading a defense. So no wonder that he is exceptional while dissecting zone coverage. It is what it is. But funny enough, what is the most effective against this team? Cover 2 man and cover 0. Cover 2 man and cover 0. Hands down the most least efficient defensive personnel package when it comes into Aaron Rodgers and getting over that hump. With cover 2, it basically tells you this, that they're running man coverage. Just run man coverage. That's my key to the game for the Buffalo Bills defense. You can't go out there thinking that you're going to run 75, 80% of zone against this team and expect a veteran quarterback who has been in the league for close to 20 years not to have answers. Go on ahead and make that happen. I trust Max Harrison. I trust Christian Benford, who has been ascending for the past couple of weeks. And so I trust our safeties as well. Man is what you need. Man is what you need. Moving on to the rushing offense. Let's go ahead and take a gander at that. They are 10th in EPA. They are 9th in EPA per attempt. DVOA 5th. Yards before contact 15th. Okay, so they are generating a lot of space in the backfield to get their running backs going. And that's a good thing because yards after contact is absolutely abysmal 27th in the NFL. So these running backs with Kenneth Gainwell, with Jaylen Warren, they're not particularly running backs that are hard to take down. So I need this Buffalo Bills team, again, to make their tackles, not only in passing downs, but also in running the football. Not a lot of explosive runs, only 25. That is 29th in the NFL. So as long as we end up making our tackles where we need to, I think that's where it's going to be. Forced missed tackle rate, we're sitting at about 17%. Now, one thing which is interesting is this. We should have no excuse for being semi-consistent against the run on Sunday. You want to know why? Because the Pittsburgh Steelers defense, the Pittsburgh Steelers offense tells you exactly what they are going to do in their rushing attack. And maybe it has to do with personnel. However, they run outside zone 33.8% of the time, or inside zone. They are a predominant zone running team. If you do not know the difference between gap and zone run scheme, zone is where the offensive lineman is responsible for an area. Gap and pulls are where an offensive lineman is responsible for a specific defender. So not a lot of power attempts from this team. I think they have 20 so far. You know what they're getting, and it's outside zone specifically. And what makes it even more intriguing, they run the damn ball to the left. They run the ball to the left 59% of the time. 59% of the time. That is telling you where they're going in almost all of their run fits. So I better not see Babich or Sean McDermott not favor that data point. That's where they're most comfortable in running. So make sure on the left side of the field, that's where you have the most bodies, especially against the run. Surprisingly enough, like you'll see this team, they're very good at running the football against base coverage, not so much in nickel, which is interesting. So I might even suggest that this might be a Shaq Thompson game for me. He's definitely one of the better tacklers out there. So when you're in nickel, I would love for a Shaq Thompson, Matt Milano type tandem, especially since Bernard was in a sling last week. So I believe that's exactly what we're going to get in the first place. But of course, here we are. Right side of the field, 41% of directional runs. Like I said, 36.67 rate, not very good efficiently. Very good on the left side. We know what they're doing. Yeah, we know what they're doing. So make sure you have a lot of bodies and run fits off to the left side and make them beat you with gap and pull run schemes. I think that's a pretty good way. Hot take of this game. I think that Buffalo has a very good game at defending the run. Hot take, I really think that they do. Assuming that Sean McDermott, Bobby Babich does not lay an egg, right? And just goes out with the completely wrong game plan. Based off of what we do well and based off of what they struggle with, this should be a pretty solid game. Last but not least, Steelers offensive line. Pressure percentage allowed, 28.8%. Okay, that is the best offensive line in football when it comes into allowing pressure. Again, they operate with a lot of jumbo packages, extra offensive linemen, multiple tight ends. Sometimes they have 4 tight ends out there at one point, right? That's their offense. Sacks, 21. 21 sacks, though. That is 10th in the NFL. And get this. Quarterback fault sacks. 27th in the NFL, Aaron Rodgers. So out of the 21 times that Aaron Rodgers has been sacked, 14 of those have been Aaron Rodgers' faults. Very similar storyline to what we're seeing in Buffalo with Josh Allen and his offensive linemen. Rodgers tends to run into sacks. That's what it is. He tends to run in the sacks, which makes it even more intriguing why he struggles so much against cover zero. Just man up on all of the potential guys right there. And sometimes he ultimately ends up getting finicky in the pocket. Maybe it has to do with the fact that he's 42. He's truly a pocket passer. He's not really as mobile as he used to be. I have a feeling he's going to be even more so on Sunday since his left hand is still obviously broken. He's just trying to play through it. So run a lot of cover zero. Solid offensive front, but Rodgers, for some odd reason, is running into sacks. He's making wrong decisions. Man coverage, a lot of covers. So man coverage and a lot of cover zero. That should be able to get it done. And with this QB hit rate, we are looking at 12.5%. So let's go ahead and get into keys of what I'm thinking about. And like you've probably already seen this teased. Again, guys, go on ahead. Follow me on X in case you're ever looking for this type of content. Number one is tackle. Okay? Key number one for the Bills defense. Tackle, for the love of all that is mighty. What this Pittsburgh Steelers offense has, one of their very few strengths that I would put in the elite category, is yards after the catch. Show me that you were a good tackling unit, specifically in the secondary. Best yak team in the NFL, and that's really all they have with the passing attack. Make your tackles. Like, that's where I'm at. Force them in third and longs. Force them in third and long situations. As long as you end up running the appropriate run fits, know where they're going, you could very easily get this team into third and long. Third and long, they are below average in converting those downs. Third and long, I expect to see a lot of 3 and outs. I would love to see bare minimum 4 3 and outs from this Pittsburgh Steelers offense at one point. Followed by that, the Steelers are running the ball to the left side, 59% of all directional runs. Take that away. So again, that's the next key. Commit to run fits. And then last but not least, man coverage against Aaron Rodgers. Cover 2 man, cover 0. Okay? Mess with Rodgers. He's making a lot of mental mistakes in the pocket. Those are my 4 keys for this game. I don't really... So I'm not really scared of this offense, right? As long as the Buffalo Bills can ultimately end up, scoring and getting back to their efficient offensive ways, and we don't turn the football over, we should have our way with this offense. It is what it is. Moving on. Let's go ahead and get into a defensive preview. What can we expect from this Buffalo Bills offense versus this Pittsburgh Steelers defense? Let's take a look at this one, man. This is a good conversation topic. So the Steelers' defensive scouting report, let's start off with their secondary. Passing defensive EPA, they are 14th in the NFL. Secondary is right? Passing defensive EPA per dropback, 14th. Passing defensive DVOA, they are 24th in the NFL, meaning that this team struggles tremendously against the pass. It makes it look a hell of a lot more attractive because they just so happen to be the second team in the NFL for taking the football away. They have taken the ball away 20 times. That puts them second in the league, second only to the Seattle Seahawks. They are ball hawks. They are really taking the exact same path that Buffalo did last year, where while there were weaknesses in the core of the defense, they made up for it for the amount of times that they were able to take the football away. So something to consider there. 9 interceptions, 20 turnovers. What do they look like from a defensive side of things? Zone coverage 62.9% of the time. That is 9th in the NFL. Man coverage 36.5% of the time. Man coverage rates. So you're seeing a lot of zone. Receiver open rate allowed 43.3%. So 43.3% of the time, they are leaving somebody open, very oftentimes underneath. So a lot of us who are upset with how this offense is built from a strategic standpoint, you need this Buffalo Bills offense to take what the defense gives you. Like, you absolutely need to. Like, you already know that they are going to be running zone coverage most of the time. They're probably going to have answers underneath. Now maybe Brandon Cooks is involved. Perhaps he can ultimately end up doing his thing here. So next up, let's figure out exactly what the Steelers defense likes to run and how Buffalo can make it happen, okay? Primary coverages, love cover 3, cover 1, cover 4, and cover 2, all positive EPA. Most efficient, obviously, is cover 0. Okay? It's cover 0. They love dialing up these pressure packages. And I mean, who wouldn't? And so with their front 7, it's just how it is. Least efficient, they are awful in man coverage. Awful in man coverage, which doesn't really help us out much because teams don't really need to run man coverage against the Bills because zone has been wildly effective so far this year. But if by any stretch of the imagination, if Josh Allen can force their hand into shifting their defensive mentality, shifting over to man coverage by taking everything underneath, it's going to be a good day for this offense. That much I can tell you. Some of the strategic notes for this, guys, is that they have a high reliance on single high safety schemes. Josh is very good against single high safety, so that's ideal. Cover 1 allows touchdowns the most, 7, and cover 2 yields highest yards per play. So something to consider. Cover 3 balances volume and efficiency, and opponents exploit cover 2 and cover 1 for higher gains. So I feel like we're going to be seeing a lot of cover 3 right here. What do you do and how do you respond at the end of the day? Now, as far as pressure, let's go ahead and take a look at what kind of pressure we should be getting from these Pittsburgh Steelers. And automatically you see that these guys are number 1. Let's see. Pressure. You have Cleveland is number 1, whereas Pittsburgh, and I mean, look at that, folks. And so the Buffalo Bills are at 6 right now with pressure rate. It just goes to show you how good we were toward the beginning of the season. As far as Pittsburgh is concerned, let's go ahead and roll down. They are 22nd in the NFL for pressures. Okay? So when you end up comparing the Buffalo Bills O-line and you also compare this Pittsburgh Steelers defensive line, this is a mismatch for us, okay? Right now, like this Bills line is giving Josh Allen 2.5 seconds to throw, very oftentimes 2.9 seconds until pressure. So I feel like there is no excuse. Of course, you need to watch out for TJ Watt, but let's see what else is going on. Now, I ended up asking Sumer Brain, one of my personal favorites. Why did I do this and not research it myself? Because my parents are about to be in town in about 2 hours. I'm running around like crazy. I didn't have time to get into the keys. I had to leverage this. Give me a break, man. I'm cooking a big Thanksgiving dinner tomorrow. Damn, time is of the essence. Anyway, I ultimately ended up asking Sumer Brain, which is like the Chat GPT for advanced analytics on the internet, exactly how they would attack the Pittsburgh Steelers defense based off of how or what the Buffalo Bills do efficiently on the offensive side of the football. Right away, exactly what we've put out so far. Attack, cover, 2 man coverage. How you get them in there, folks, is by destroying their zone looks, by taking everything that the defense gives you, chipping away slowly but surely. That's going to force Tomlin's hand into transitioning over into man coverage. That's where Josh Allen ultimately ends up eating. That is where he blows the door off of this defense, is by forcing them into man. How you do it is you take everything underneath and take what the defense gives you at the beginning of the game. That's how you do it. That is the recipe for success. Target with that, it's a 0.622 EPA. It is their worst efficiency on the face of the planet. Exploit standard cover 2, as we can see. Usage 13%. Attack the deep middle seam between safeties and underneath crossing routes. Got to tell you what, look at that. Attack the underneath. It appears like me and AI are on the exact same page. Seam is interesting. Is Dalton Kincaid back? Because he's the one that I trust the most to run a seam route. We'll see if Brandon Cooks has something to say about it too, but we will see. Same thing with challenge cover 1. We've already read all of this. And so attack nickel, 37 success rate against the run, vulnerable, 2 play action, target 3-3-5 in nickel once again. So many different things, man. With pressure situations, quick game versus blitz, there's so many things that this team is going to do. But man, what to think of the Buffalo Bills and the Pittsburgh Steelers? That is indeed the question. Anyway, guys, let's go on ahead and transition over into a question and answer type segment. Last night, I hope that you guys were able to catch the emergency stream between Kevin and I as we unpacked a lot of what we should have been anticipating from the impact of Brandon Cooks on this offense. But let's make a transition over into the Q&A segment. Please label each and every single one of them either with a Q and or an S so I know exactly what is on your mind. Let me know. Let me know. Against the Steelers defense. Someone's saying alert, alert, alert. Let me see. What did I miss? What exactly did I miss? I'm not seeing much. Anyway, let's get Tyler in here. He's in the building with a question. And do you think Taylor Rapp will have a spot on this team once he comes back from injury? No, I don't, man. I don't even think if he was really medically required to go on the IR. I feel like it was more of a soft benching. Maybe he was banged up a little bit, but the reason I think he was put on the IR in the first place was more so because he was just an absolute liability for this defense. It's no surprise that once Taylor Rapp ended up leaving the field, our secondary improved significantly as far as our tackles, missed tackles and stuff. That's where I'm at. We have SWSJ is coming into the building. He's saying, and do you think Aaron Rodgers is scared because the Bills took him out a couple of years ago this season? No. So I don't think that that's going to be in his head. He's a veteran, right? He's definitely able to compartmentalize from season to season. So I don't think that that is going to be a fear factor for him, but I do think that there are going to be some things. So I do think that there are going to be some talent limitations based off of how old he is. But no, I don't think fear is going to play much into the game here. We have Jonas is coming in. Statement / a question, a haircut before the potential haircut. And will there be a wide receiver cut to make sure for the addition of Cooks? My theory is that Elijah Moore is going to be released. That is my theory. And perhaps Curtis Samuel is added to the IR. But for me, it's just a matter of time right before we hear it as an official announcement. I think that Moore is going to be on the chopping block. Statement. I think Keon's hate is overblown and he'll prove some of the haters wrong. Not all of them, though. LMAO. All right. So me and Kevin yesterday, we were really deep into conversation where we were talking about Keon Coleman and what we believe that the Bills' plans are for him. I would not be surprised if dude is a healthy scratch for the rest of the year. I would not be surprised in the slightest. Maybe a couple of games here and there. So what Kev thinks that he is going to be activated because we're trying to ramp up his trade value. But say that they do go about that that way, I think that they're probably going to be waiting for some of the final games of the season or just some of the strategic games here and there or a garbage time type performance. But for me, I would not be surprised if we do not see him. Steelers give up a third most yak, only 63 yards behind the worst yak defense. Unless they man-free Khalil, doubtful he should have a huge game. A very big advantage for this Buffalo Bills team. By the way, Cold Front, do me a favor and DM me on X so I can give you this link so you can hop in and we can talk a little ball. All right, come on in, man. With Cold Front is an up-and-coming TikToker and Instagram reel artist, okay? He is certainly doing his thing, and he's going to come on. He's going to talk a little ball with us as long as he's still available. Here he is. I found you on Twitter, brother. I'm going to send you the link right now. Feel free to hop in if you are available. Let's see. Cold Front. There he is. All right, man. I just ended up sending you the link. Come on in and talk a little ball, man. I am here. All right, we have Anthony is coming in the building. And do you think Cooks will bring the same effect that Cooper had last season where his presence itself opens up our other guys more. So funny enough, and I think you guys are going to so appreciate this. This right here is Brandon Cook's route tree. This is by and large the most diverse route tree that is on our roster right now. He is 32 years old. He no longer runs a 4.3. He's probably closer to like a 4.4, 4.5 right now. But he is a polished route runner, and he is still very effective. So if you were to ask me, I think at the very least, he's going to play that Amari Cooper type role where it's going to force defenses to respect his presence. So I want everyone to limit their expectations. However, I do think that this is going to be in Amari Cooper-esque type effect, because by and large, this is one of the most effective route trees that we have seen. And shout out to Kevin for sending that to me yesterday on the show. But guys, as promised, and so I always like bringing on some other personalities in the community. Cole from Buffalo, what up, man?
What's up, brother? How are you?
Hey, man, love the hoodie, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah, we were just at the Bucks game. We go to a couple games a year with the family, and always pick up something. I spend way too much money every time we're there, but it's to be determined just how much.
Oh yeah, me too, man. Like that brick and mortar location of the Bills store, I at the very least pay their water bill. Like at the very least at that point. Dude, first off,
the Amex.
Yeah, for sure. Dude, first off, big fan of what you're doing. I really enjoy all of your takes. I've noticed that your team data as well. I have been in an argument with people on Twitter for like the past week or so, just trying to say data over film any day of the week. But thoughts on the Steelers game, man, because right now I look at it, both the Bills and the Pittsburgh Steelers need this one. So I think it's going to come down and like who is the strongest from a personnel perspective and who truly has all of the advantages. So what are some of the biggest things you're looking for in this game, and how is Buffalo going to come out on top?
Yeah, well, listen, I appreciate you having me, man. Thank you. Thank you for the shout out. I'm with you. Yes, I'm a data guy, but I also like to watch the film and see what that has to say and kind of merge the two together for my opinions. I don't get paid to do this, but it is what it is. I will say this, that what sticks out to me the most is I think I just texted you. The Pittsburgh Steelers yard after catch as far as defense goes is third worst in the league, and it's only 60 yards away from being the worst in the league.
Yeah.
So they run a 3-5 predominantly, but two of their linebackers are lining up on the edge on the line of scrimmage most of the time as well, including TJ Watt. So it's more like a 5-2. And they blitz heavily. They blitz, I think, top 8. I think they're 8th in the NFL in blitzing. So that will give 6 or 7 men rushing the passer. If you allow 7 guys to rush the passer and only 4 people back in coverage and give up average separation, which they do, well, you're going to allow yards after the catch. So unless they decide to run up some scheme to man up Khalil Shakir, who's one of the best yard after catch receivers in the NFL, I don't see him having anything less than a fantastic day. That's me. Now, if we were to look at one game that I honed in on for a comparison was I think it was week 8 for them against the Green Bay Packers. Jordan Love went absolutely berserk. He was 29 to 37 for 360 yards and 3 touchdowns. What I didn't realize until I looked this up on Next Gen Stats, his air yards per attempt with 360 yards was 5.4, third worst in the NFL for that week. So you don't have to air this thing out. You don't necessarily need to have your 20-plus yard, air attempts. You've said this a lot, Dan. So have I. And a lot of people think it's me getting on Josh Allen's ass as well. You have a hell of a lot more followers than I do. Take what's given.
Yes.
You don't have to throw the ball 30 yards downfield and make these heroic plays all of the time. Like, we know who you are. Exactly. We know you can do that. Take what you're given. I think this is a huge day for both Ty Johnson and Khalil Shakir with yards after the catch. That's my take, and I think that's the biggest thing. I'm not so worried on defense, like you maybe. They have a mediocre rushing attack. And if we can just, I think, temper DK Metcalf, we'll be just fine.
Yeah, dude. Like, so with this offense, loves tight ends.
Yeah.
Sometimes like you'll see them roll out with like 4 tight ends, a lot of jumbo packages. And while I know that like we're really limited as far as depth on the defensive line, Aaron Rodgers has a very similar issue to Josh Allen this year, where he's just running into sacks. Like out of the 21 times he has been sacked this year, like 14 of which have been his fault. Hence why I think he's struggling so much against cover 0 specifically.
Yeah, sure.
And now once you account for his age, number one, he's turning 42 next week, and he's not healed, right? Like, dude's playing with a left broken hand. I think that he's even going to get even more finicky with that. So, like you, I'm not particularly concerned about this. My hot take is that we actually have a really good game against the run, like on Sunday. Because, like, they tell you what they do. It's just zone scheme, and they pound it to the left. So just do me a favor and put as much bodies as humanly possible on the left side of the field. Shaq Thompson, Matt Milano. Okay. Surprisingly enough, like they're very good against base, like very good at running against base, not so much against nickel for some odd reason. Shaq and Matt Milano just go ahead and tough that out and then put Aaron Rodgers in 3rd and long situations. That's when their efficiency just completely takes a shit.
Yeah,
that's my thought.
I can't disagree with that at all. Now, let me ask you this. I didn't catch the beginning of the show, so I apologize. I was a few minutes late. What are your thoughts of almost having a 4-3 with even throwing a Dorian Williams potentially in there and leaving, I hate to say this, but Taron Johnson off the field, especially if they're running 2-3 tight ends?
Yeah. So I'll tell you what, man, I remember very often, like with Joe Brady, what Bobby Babich once said, it's tough for me to take Taron Johnson off of the field. Now I feel that
2 years ago, maybe
you shouldn't have an issue with that anymore. He's probably been like one of our biggest liabilities on defense right now. Like once you took Rapp off of the field,
exactly,
we saw things improve slightly, but now we're starting to see some of the like other straight up liabilities on this defense. I'd probably put Taron Johnson at 1, and then I'd probably put Bernard at 2 as far as where it's at. So
as liabilities.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Most definitely. Like with Bernard is still semi-decent in coverage, but like as far as being able to move laterally, like his ankle's bothering him. It's been bothering him all week, or like, all year.
All year, yeah.
His run defense is completely taken a shit. So 4-3 is interesting to me. I don't really like their wide receivers, like right outside of DK Metcalf. Like, with Calvin Austin, I guess he's 5'8", he's twitchy, he's doing his thing.
But Freiermuth has more yards than Austin does.
Yeah, true. He's probably like one of your biggest guys right there. Just would love to see 4-3, especially since Buffalo has been trending in that direction, and I could definitely see them trying to implement it. But for me, so I think you don't fix what's not broken, but for the love of God, I really hope that we adjust. Luckily, our defense is shown to adjust, right? Maybe not so much as far as the offense, but our defense adjusts. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That's been quite frustrating between the, Brady and Babich discussions, but Babich at least has on his docket, I believe, McDermott taking over play calling, whether it be at halftime, in between quarters. No one's coming to Brady's rescue. So currently, and I don't want to make this about, like you've said a million times, and I agree with you. We can yell and scream about missing Jalen Waddle and missing all these people well, you can't do anything about it now.
No, you can't.
So just what can you do to focus on getting wins from now until the end of the season? I don't see what else matters currently. The offseason, you can destroy Bean, destroy McDermott, do whatever the hell you want to do. But we don't even know where we're going to end up. And if you don't put the effort in now, you're not going to go anywhere. You're going to be on your couch real soon. So why not just put it in now and try to figure stuff out on the fly? That's what I feel. And I think you're kind of right there with me.
Oh my God, man. You are riling me up right now. I have had this conversation week after week after week. And anytime I hear somebody say that, like, look, I acknowledge it, guys. I acknowledge it that we don't have the best personnel in some areas of the field. Like, you can look at the receipts, man. Like, I wanted Kyle Williams in the third rather than Landon Jackson. I was not a Landon Jackson fan in the draft. Like, I'm not sure about you. Was not a Landon Jackson fan. I thought TJ Sanders was redundant, especially since I thought that like he was like very similar to Ed Oliver. I would have much rather like an Alfred Collins at that second piece.
Sure.
Now it worked out since Ed's only played 2 games. But look, like I had visions of what I wanted this roster to look like. But in my eyes, why do I waste energy on it? Like, why do I waste energy on saying what Bean should have done during the trade deadline or what free agent should have been brought in? All I'm concerned with here is what Buffalo can control, like you just alluded to. And the biggest thing that we have, and this is a big key of the game going into it, we can't turn the fucking football over.
Oh.
We can't.
Yeah, what do you have for what is it? 3 turnovers in the 7 wins and 9 if I'm not mistaken
11
in the 4 losses. 11.
It was 11. Yeah, well.
Yeah.
So some of those were like the Khalil Shakir fumble, like right in our own red zone, like the James.
Yeah, but that's important. That's a big fumble.
Yeah,
that's the only 3 points that the Texans get in the second half, if I'm not mistaken, off of that fumble by Khalil.
Yeah,
that's a big deal. You got to hold on to the football.
Yeah. And so the reason I'm harping on it so much too, and so the reason I'm harping on it so much as well is like not because I'm like, oh, like it's because we suck. It's like, no, why I'm harping on it is because I know it's fixable. And that's the reason that we're losing. That's why we should be optimistic, because this team is still a good offense. It's still a good offense. The only common denominator is that we are significantly coughing the football up a little bit more. 0 turnovers against the Pittsburgh Steelers, and watch us win by 20. That's all I got to say.
I think they put up 35 to 40 points if they don't have any turnovers. I really do. And I think they can. I think they can even get away with running the football, but I don't know how necessary it is, if I'm being honest. I think they can run the football. Their rush defense is, I think, middle of the pack, if I'm not mistaken. Right. There's nothing special there. The only thing that this team has is the ability to sack the quarterback. But when they don't sack the quarterback, they get picked apart. So it's kind of an all or nothing. Watching some film against also those same Green Bay Packers, what they did a lot was chip blocks from the tight ends, and they were leaving either Jordan Love or their second running back, last name of Wilson, I believe, in the backfield to help with pass protection.
Yeah.
And they picked the Steelers apart. And we can go on and on about last week, but the one thing that they did was they almost allowed 5-man protection to become 4 because one of the guards, mainly Edwards, was spying on the spy who predominantly was that middle linebacker Shakir on Josh Allen. So he was 1 or 2 yards downfield. So there was only 4 men, all one-on-one against in my opinion, the best pass rush in the NFL. Leave somebody in there. You don't need to have 5 guys out. I don't know if Brandon Cooks is on the field much this week.
Yeah.
I don't know what your thoughts are about him. I heard you saying, he's a good receiver. I still think he's got some in the tank. And quite frankly, if you look at his EPA, which you're a numbers guy, he's higher than Xavier
everybody
Worthy.
On the team. Yeah.
Everybody on the team with the exception of maybe Dalton Kincaid. But I'm talking about even outside of the Bills locker room. Yeah. He's neck and neck with Ladd McConkey EPA passing or receiving. He's neck and neck with some big players. He just didn't get the opportunities. I mean, he ran 264 routes, I think, so far this year with 25 targets.
Yeah. So my thing is that like I think that we're going to see a Brandon Cooks game similar to what we saw from the first Amari Cooper game. Very limited snaps. He may get a couple of targets here and there. I'm hoping that this is at the very least. He's 32 and I acknowledge that, but I really hope that he's the kind of guy that like will be able to help this receiving room get open and like have something where defensive coordinators are like, oh shit. And so with this guy, like he's going to kill us on a couple of deep outs and boom, we have somebody wide open underneath, somebody that's not particularly good. Here's a question for you.
Yeah.
What the hell do you think our receiving room is going to look like for the rest of the season? Who's cut? Who's cut? Who's not seeing the field? Talk to me.
So I am a huge, and I love Keon Coleman. I think that he gets a bad rap because he was drafted in a bad spot for him. Yeah. Good spot for his wallet, bad spot for his game, my opinion. I think he's better than the, I guess, level of expectation that was put on him and not by himself. That's me. However, with the what was it, an Instagram post or a thread post by Elijah Moore, little suspect. That was kind of weird. Immediately, preceding the signing of Cooks. I think I agree with you. It doesn't seem as if Moore will be around. So I think he's going to be out. And depending on Samuel, if he's an IR candidate, that brings us back down to how many? 6? Or no, that's 7 with Keon, right? So I think you have Khalil, of course. You have Joshua Palmer, of course. Cooks was not signed to be a practice squad guy, so you have Cooks. I don't think that Keon gets released. That's not going to happen. He might be healthy scratched continuously. I think that Curtis Samuel, if he goes to the I feel bad for him because I think that he does better than what he received as well. For sure. I don't know. I think Elijah Moore's out. I think Cooks is going to have a bigger part of this offense than what most people feel. I got to be honest, Dan. I don't mean to get off topic, but I'm with you when all these Bills fans out here on this social media thing, which again I'm kind of new to. My word, like they are negative immediately about everything.
Oh yeah.
Brandon Cooks, okay, if you watch the film back, this man is a veteran who has many, many 1,000-yard seasons under his belt. He's only 3 years off of an 8-touchdown season, I believe. And if you watch it back, the man understands the concept of getting open, finding a zone, and sitting in it.
Finding space.
We have had multiple times, in my opinion, when I watch things back, and I'm not going to lambaste any one receiver. It's kind of all of them on the Bills roster right now. They'll run through a zone as if they're almost nervous about not running the proper route because of some kind of ramification they're about to get from whether it's media, social media people, the locker room, the coaching staff. I don't know. They run through a zone. Bills people will want to hear this, but in my opinion, one of the best receivers against zone of all time is Travis Kelce. There was no route. There's no route. It's almost as if it's Travis, just go do your thing, find an opening, sit down in it. Patrick Mahomes, obviously, they had a very good, rapport between the two of them. We'll find you. We'll dump it to you wherever you are. I know that you and I are going to see the same thing. We don't have much of that, but
no, we don't.
A lot of teams play a lot of zone against us.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm hoping Brandon Cooks actually can get some rapport with Josh Allen and just start running around when he scrambles and finding zone pockets. Yes, that's it. Find space and sit in it. We don't do it. We just simply don't do it. That's where I think he's actually going to come up big for us, truthfully.
And so one thing that just drives me nuts is that everyone's like, oh, like we just don't have receivers that can separate. And it even comes from like big names in the industry. I'm like, guys, separation is not an issue when defenses are running 70% zone against you. And so the issue is that they're just not finding space. Like, that's the issue. I
agree with you, Dan.
Like, how is separation a problem when we're seeing predominantly zone? Like, someone's always open, guys. Someone always is for the most part. It's crazy.
I totally agree. Like Acho, Manuel Acho. Like, I don't know. The guy's he's an ex-NFL. He's got a big name for himself. He hates the Bills. Yeah, it's easy to just say that.
And all of a sudden, people are taking his word by gospel, man. Like, people are taking his word by gospel, being like, oh, but Emmanuel Acho said this. The first play he showed where he said, look, nobody's open. Literally 2 guys were wide open underneath by a country mile.
Right.
And someone called him out on it and they said, oh no, like the safety easily would have jumped the route. I'm like, okay, like first off, like this is not like so Mac Jones arm strength right here. Like this is Josh Allen. He easily could have bulleted one in there completely.
Exactly. Let that thing rip.
Yeah.
That's my background. I was a pitcher. I played college and a little bit of minor league baseball. And Josh Allen does not let it rip like he did 2-3 years ago. I've made some videos on this. His mechanics have seen a little off, and he does not follow through his release and through his target like he did a few years ago. I know he's tried to lower his arm angle a bit and his release point over the years, which I understand the reasons why. But when he was more over the top, he was more downhill, and he had a lot more velocity on his throws, and this was years ago. Those tight windows are not a thing of his repertoire at this very moment like they used to be. And he's still throwing interceptions. So don't tell me it's like, he's got to be more aggressive. No, he's got to be more aggressive, but let the thing fly. because there's been plenty of people open. Look at A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown has one of the least separations on target.
And people wanted him on this team.
Yeah. So, I mean, I wouldn't mind having A.J. Brown, but my point is he's one of the better receivers in the NFL. Sure. But he is not wide open all the time. The quarterback just trusts him enough to throw it in a tight window.
I know.
You have to do that in the NFL. When people say, oh, the linebacker or the safety is going to jump that route or take somebody's head off, listen, look at red zone touchdowns all over the NFL with these little seam routes from slot guys. They all get hit hard. You got to throw the ball where you throw your receivers open, give them a chance, and let them do their thing too. So I will admit the fact that, yes, did I want Jalen Waddle? Do I think we should have went for a 26th first rounder versus a 27th? Hell yeah. Yeah. We absolutely should have made that move.
Yeah.
But we didn't. So let's go on. Yeah, exactly. I mean, enough with it.
Exactly, man. That's what I'm talking about, dude. All right. So let's go on ahead and get into some final score predictions, and then we'll get on out of here, man. What do you got in this game and a hot take?
Oh, geez. Score prediction. I'm going to go 35-21.
Nice.
I think it's going to be a big win. And my hot take will probably be, let's see here. I think that we actually sack Aaron Rodgers 4 more times. I don't know if that's hot enough for you, but in our history, we haven't been getting after the quarterback whatsoever. I think we muster up some pressure on him using cover 0 a lot and just sending the house and getting him into a bad spot. I think that the Bills have 4 more sacks Sunday. If that's hot enough for you, I don't know.
Love to hear it, man. I think that Buffalo, so I think we get in the 30s as well. I'm going to go 31-17. And so I think that our defense holds the Steelers to 17 points. My hot take is that we have, bar none, the most impressive run defense performance all season long. Genuinely think that that's what it is. 31-17. A lot of people are going to hop back on the bandwagon, followed by the Cincinnati Bengals game with Joe Burrow returning. We'll see how he looks tomorrow on Thanksgiving. And then that big one in Foxborough, man, that big one in Foxborough. But I don't know. We'll see.
You never know.
Never know, indeed. Folks, need you to go follow my friend Cold Front, all right, right now on TikTok. Are you on YouTube yet, Cold Front, or no?
Yeah, but very little. Same thing, Cold Front Buffalo. Some shorts here and there that I just kind of paste over from TikTok. But we'll get into longer videos.
Cold Front Buffalo, we are going to plug his TikTok first. Very knowledgeable of the game. Highly recommend you go give him some love over on TikTok. And then you're going to be seeing a lot more of him on the show. Man, I can promise you that. Folks, we appreciate you tuning in. We will see you here in a bit. I hope that you enjoy your Thanksgiving. I have family coming into town here in the next couple of hours. I'll have some pre-recorded videos scheduled to be released later today and tomorrow to sort of keep you entertained in my absence. But we'll see you soon, and happy Thanksgiving, y'all. Love you.
Happy Thanksgiving. Appreciate you, Dan.
Yeah, man.